We're wanting to graph the function y equals -3 to the x plus 1 power minus 2. Yeah, this is a good one and a tricky one. Okay, so first off, how do we do it? So if you look at the notes, here's the exam 3 notes. You see graphing an exponential function. This is exponential. How do we know? Because x is in power. So x in power means exponential. That's what we mean by an exponential function. So in other words, x squared is not exponential. Why not? It's got powers, right? But it doesn't have x in power. X is in the base. So that's not an exponential function. Are you tracking with me? An exponential function is something that has x itself climbing up into the power zone. That's exponential, not just anything that has numbers up there. We don't care about that so much. That's just a U shape, right? That's not an exponential. All right, so exponential is when x itself has climbed into the power zone. And what do we know about exponential? They always, let me show you in the notes, they always, see the example here, they have a horizontal asymptote and they flatten on one side and rocket up or down on the other. Sometimes they rocket up to the left and flatten this way, or they'll rocket up to the right and flatten this way, or they'll rocket down to the left and flatten this way, or they'll rocket down to the right and flatten that way. So they rocket one of those 4 directions and flatten out at their horizontal asymptote line. That's what they always do. They rocket. Exponential growth is explosive growth, fast growth. All right, so what do you do? First off, the number added or subtracted at the back is the horizontal asymptote, this. That's where you got to start. So that's this right here. That's the horizontal asymptote, -2. So let's go put that on the graph. Right through -2, horizontal asymptote. So we know there's the flattening line. We got that already. So the graph, it's going to flatten here, go up to the right, or maybe it's going to flatten and go up to the left, or maybe it's going to flatten, go down to the right, or it's going to flatten, go down to the left. We don't know. One of those 4 directions. How do we find them? Step 2, make a table. First, plug in an x value, which will make the power 0. That's a good way to start, easiest way to start. Plug in an x value to make the power 0. So x1. What x value will make that power 0? -1. You see it? I put in right there, -1. It'll make that power zone 0. You see that? So y will be -3 to the -1 plus 1 minus 2. So y will be -3 to the 0. Is that good? Make the power 0. That's the first thing we're going to do. So makes the power equal to 0. Okay, anyway. Okay, heads up, watch this. I don't know if you're paying close attention or not. Here's the mistake a lot of people make. They go, oh, anything to 0 power is 1. No. Wrong. Dead in the water. Game over. Problem wrong. Wait a minute, why not? I thought you said that, Heron. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Yes, I did, and that's still true. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Here's what's going wrong. That's not true because that's not what's raised to the 0 power. What's raised to the 0 power? Only this guy is raised to the 0 power. The negative is not involved. He's sitting out front still. Do you see that? That's very, very, very important that you understand. Let me show you. So negative, if the whole thing was in there, yeah, that'd be 1. But if you have it like this, it's -1. See the difference? Let me make it plain. I'm about to go watch one of my son's first baseball games of the year. He's a junior in high school. He's got a baseball game this afternoon. My daughter plays soccer. I watch her all the time. When I go to those games, I'm just a spectator. I'm just sitting in the stands. I don't obey the coach at all, right? That's what negatives are like this if they're not in the parentheses, right? If you're in the parentheses, then you're in the game. Like my kids, they're on the teams. So they have to obey the coach. And the 0 power coach says, you become 1, please, and they have to obey. But here, this negative sign, this negative is a spectator. He's not on the team. He's not in the parentheses. He's not in the game. So he doesn't obey the coach. And the coach says, hey, everybody in the game, become a 1. The negative says, well, I'm not in the game. I'm just sitting here watching. The other part will become a 1. All right, so I've made a big deal out of this. I want you to be clear on that. That's really, really important to be clear what a power has power over. Only the number it's right next to, not even the signs, the negative sign after it, unless there's parentheses, putting it in the game. So then that's -3 right there. So -3. So there's our first point. Back 1, down 3 right here. Back 1, down 3. Got that one? Okay, now, how do we get another point? Well, if you go, whoa, I went way too far there. Go to the notes. Go to the notes, and it says, make a table. We did that. Next, try adding 1 and plug that in. Okay, now let's add 1. I say try because it doesn't always work out perfect, but it usually does. So just add 1. -1 plus 1, that'd be 0. Try plugging in 0 now. Let's try that. So I'm going to take the same equation, y, the original equation, -3 to the x plus 1 minus 2, and I'm going to plug in 0. Okay, what do you get? -3 to the 1. And so -3 minus 2 is -5, isn't it? So this will be -5. So over 0 down 5 right there. Over 0 down 5. All right, now we know the story, don't we? We can see which way it's going. We know it flattens at that blue line. So what must it be doing? It must be going this way. And we know it flattens this way. There's how that graph must look. So again, highlighting it one more time, the number at the back is the horizontal asymptote. The number added or subtracted at the back, I should say, is the horizontal asymptote. Put that on there. It's the flattening line. Then start by plugging in an x value that'll make the power 0. But be careful when you do that. Powers coaches only have effect on the people on the team in the parentheses. This minus is not in the parentheses. He's just watching like I do at my kids' sporting events. So the negative stays. The 3 to the 0 becomes 1. So it's -1 minus 2, -3. Then add 1, plug in 0, -5. Get your 2 dots. It's clear that it rockets down to the right. There we go.